One of my favorite quotations by John Dewey is, "The greatest illusion in communication is that it's accomplished." And I think about that all the time whenever we're talking about communication in public education. It is, as Mr. Caldwell mentioned before, it is a joint effort of sharing information, receiving information, and listening, not waiting to speak, as so many of us do. You know, we're often processing something that we're hearing, but wanting to share something back. And listening is being patient with the information that's being shared and really taking the time to reflect on both what its intent is and what the opportunity is to connect with that person on the other side, and also to make sure that there is a common ground for understanding. Frequently in education, whether we're serving students or talking to staff, there are going to be moments of disagreement, and disagreement's healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. Communication can involve disagreement and heated debate and shared passions, and yet what you want to find is understanding. I want to understand where you're coming from and why that is the perspective or the decision or the direction, and recognizing that never comes with a period at the end of the sentence. There's always an ellipse. You know, every dialogue it's almost to be continued, to be continued, to be continued. And when that is both the foundation that communication is built on, and then the expectation is that there's always going to be a follow-up and a give and take and a revisit and a continued dialogue, then you've got this kind of healthy circle. And when we think of communication and the effectiveness in the school system or effectiveness with our parents and families, it's about continuing to make sure that the circle is moving.
And many times when we have an issue, many times when we have an upset parent on something that's gone wrong or gone bad, Dr. Bryant and I will talk, and of course one of us will look in the old classic line is, what we have here is a failure to communicate. And many times it's the root of it. Many times the word didn't get back to that person. Many times how it was even read or how it was even spoken maybe was not the intent of what it is. So communication is so important. The failure to communicate will take an organization down very, very quickly. Now, as a school system, I think we do a tremendous job in one-way communication. I think we're getting it out there. Social media in this day and time now of putting things on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You know, we used to print things off and put it in the child's book bag. Well, now it's a lot more communication. Pushing things out. Any type of organization has got to push things out. A true organization, though, it's two-way, as Dr. Broad is speaking about. It's also the listening part as well. And so therefore, as a large organization, I think you've got to be careful. We're so intent on the push, but we've got to provide opportunity to get that communication to come our way as well and listen. And so, but like I said, most of the time, the issues that happen, it's unfortunately a failure to communicate.
And I think they're certainly in the modern world, it's also an intended focus is seeking out the information, the communication that hasn't come to you. When you think about areas of your community or certain populations that don't have a strong voice or an advocate, or a parent or a family who might not be the ones that are going to show up to the public meeting and say something at public comment. Mr. Caldwell mentioned something earlier. When you get into a school and you engage the custodian, there's a reason that you do that, because the custodian might not have audience with the superintendent on a regular basis the way that a school principal does. And so that's creating a forum for that communication that says that it's welcome, that your input matters, that you don't just want to hear from people when they're upset, because usually that's when someone's willing to communicate with you. We joke and laugh a lot of times. It's like, when's the last time you were at dinner and you said, I want to speak to the manager, and you call the manager and you're like, that was the best meal I've ever had, and thank you so much, and the service was great, and the food was cooked perfectly. Is like, that's not when we scream for the manager. We scream for the manager when things went sideways and the steak came out and it wasn't prepared the way that I wanted it, and the service, I couldn't find the waiter and couldn't get my water filled up. And so it's seeking out opportunities to make sure that all voices are heard, even if they're not the ones that show up in front of you on a regular basis.